Hi everyone, this is Gail, and welcome to my Tupelo Designs LLC project for this week. Excuse me. I have had people ask me for projects where they could make something for their husband or boyfriend, but to make masculine jewelry. Some men love to wear jewelry like necklaces or bracelets. So I'm going to start a series on masculine jewelry. I probably will post one a week for a while, one video. But then I also want to tell you how dumb I feel right now. I recorded this video once, and the way that my camera works, when you pause your video and then start it again, it creates an entirely new file. And I was doing two projects actually the other day, this one and one other one, where the processes were very similar. Can't seem to get rid of that frog in my throat. And so I was filming both of them at the same time, because that way my processes would be done. You know, I could get all my sanding done at one time, all my buffing done at one time, all my cutting done at one time. And I had two different videos. So the two filled up the memory card on my camera. So I went ahead and uploaded, I thought, into Movie Maker, so I could save the projects and then add, come back after everything had baked, and then I could just add the second half of my videos to the first half and make one video. Except, after I uploaded the files to Movie Maker and saved the project, it was saved as a project file, not as a MP4 file. And when I went back with so I cleared my memory card so I'd have room to do the second half of the videos. Went back and loaded what I thought was my video, and come to find out, it wasn't actually uploaded. It was still reading the file on my memory card. And since those files had been erased, the whole first part of my videos were gone. So since I have the second half done, I'm going to recreate a miniature version of what I did at the beginning. I'll do one or two beads. I'm just not going to do the 16 that I did in the other video. But let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm thinking about what this is going to be is lava beads. I thought lava beads they're not only pretty, but they're very masculine. And it's something that I think a man would wear. And I'm going with something very simple. You can make them as complicated as you like. You can add to it or whatever. But what I'm going to show you is the basic lava bead. And I've got some black Primo clay that I have rolled out onto the number 1 setting on my pasta machine, which is the thickest setting on my pasta machine. And I have a 1-inch cutter that I have gotten from the Sculpey graduated circle cutter set. This is the 1-inch cutter. And I found that this makes a pretty good size bead for what we want to use. So I'm just going to cut 2 and show you the process. I'm going to take this and I'm folding it rather than just balling it up, because this way I can keep air out of it. And then when it gets down to where it's like a fat triangle, then you can form it into a round bead. Now what I had shown you on the other video that got erased is looking at your palm to roll a round bead. The center of your palm, if you roll this just in the center of your palm, you will get a round bead. I had something on my hands. However, if you roll too far out and it goes along the edge of your hand, well, let me just show you. I'm going to roll this and I'm doing very little movement in my hands. Just very little. and I have a round bead. But let me just go just a little bit more, and this is what a lot of people do, and they can't understand why they don't have round beads. If you go over beyond, you end up with a football-shaped bead. And if you go even further or harder, it will turn into this kind of bead. So in order to get a round bead, you want to concentrate on keeping it just in the very center of your palm. And that will give you your round bead. See? And let me do the other one. I'm going to fold it rather than ball it up. Make sure I squeeze the air out as I do it. When it's in fourths, it's like a fat triangle, and I just start pushing in the sides to make it round, or sort of round. You don't even have to make them round. Some of the beads will misshape a little as you do the next step, but I'm starting with a round one. You can keep your designs in any shape that you want. If you would rather have angular beads, then by all means do angular beads, but I'm just going to show you the very basic and then let you go from there. So here I've got 2 round beads. I have some Morton's coarse sea salt, and you have to get the coarse, because if you get the regular, like you shake onto your stuff at the table, it's not going to work. This has to be coarse. And you can see here, this is some of the salt that I've got in a little dish. And you can see how coarse it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press these little beads into the salt. And get some salt on there. Now you don't have to totally cover the bead, because if you've ever seen a lava rock, there are smooth places, shiny places. But what you're going to do, I think that will be, well, maybe a little bit more right here. You want some shiny places, but remember, this lava is formed by boiling hot rock. So there's one. Let me show you that a little bit closer. See how it's not totally covered, but it's a lot of salt on it. And I'll do the same thing with this one. And you can see also on this that the shape is no longer perfectly round. It's a little misshapen. And that's okay, because that's kind of the look I'd like to have. I don't want it to be perfectly round. But you do whatever shape you want to do. And let me just continue. You can press it back a little bit, back into shape, but there again, it's covered with this coarse salt. And just make sure you press it in. You can even roll it in your hands if you want to make sure that the salt doesn't come out. But you would continue doing this with your other beads. If you're going to use the 1-inch cutter on a #1 setting of your pasta machine, your bead is going to be just about a 1/2 inch. So you figure if you want, you have to measure the wrist of the person you're giving it to. Most men, I would think, would have at least an 8-inch wrist, if not more than that, maybe 8 to 10 inches or even more, depending on your man. So just remember, you'll need like 2 beads per inch is an estimate. So if you need a 10-inch circle of beads, then by all means do 20 beads. And I'll show you how. I'll go ahead and put these in the oven. And then when I come back with the second half of the video, I'll show you how to get the salt off of it and also how to make your bracelet. So thanks for watching. I'll be back in a few minutes. Sorry, I'm back briefly. I just wanted to tell you, I think I did mention this in the other video, if you have something that's round, there are several ways that you can bake this. You can make a pan of baking soda And this is just a little foil pan that you buy at the grocery store. It's a tiny one. It's like a little brownie tin pan or something. I don't know. It's a small little pan. And I've got maybe a 1/4 inch of baking soda in there. And you can take these and just kind of set it in the baking soda like that. And then put this in the oven, covered of course, and it will give you, it'll keep the beads from getting flat on the bottom. You can't lay it directly on a flat surface or you will end up with a flat shiny spot on your bead. Another thing you can do is just take an index card, and with this many beads it would take quite a few index cards. But do a fan fold on your index card. Just like this. Doesn't have to be precise. And on the white side, of course this has baking soda on it, which will come right off after it bakes. But you could set your bead in there, and that would also keep it from getting a shiny, slick spot on your bead. But if you're going to be doing 20 beads, it might be easier just to put some baking soda, and it's just plain old Arm & Hammer baking soda in a pan, and use that. So let's do that for now. Sorry, I'll be back after they're baked. Hi everybody, it's Gail. Sorry for the glare. I know it's glared because I have my water sitting here, but I wanted to show you the lava beads after they came out of the oven. I immediately put them into water, and you can still see little bits of salt on the beads after they've soaked, even though most of the salt melted. So what you need to do is take a toothbrush and just brush over them. You don't have to brush hard because the salt pretty much dissolves. And then put them on a paper towel or a towel or whatever to dry. But just as you take them out of the water, the beads out of the water, just brush them with a toothbrush. And I don't know if you can see with them being wet, but see all the neat little grooves and things that are in it, the little divots and the craters and stuff. It makes it look like real lava. And I have seen some brown lava. Well, let's put it this way. I've seen pictures of brown lava. The only real lava rocks I've seen were black. And they were shiny. So I'm going to take my water away. And bring my beads up here. Now I've got some that I've already brushed them with my toothbrush, and they've dried out, and I've drilled holes in them. But I thought I would show you. There's so many different ways to drill holes in a bead. And one way is to bake them first. If you don't want to disfigure them by using your needle tool. If you have raw clay, you can use your needle tool and stick through the clay. But because of the salt and everything on here, I decided I was going to wait until they were finished before I did my holes. And I'm going to drill them after they're baked. So I'm just looking at this one because I'd like it to be interesting wherever I choose the hole. I think I'm going to start a hole there. And I'm using a little pin vise. I think this was made by Doris. But after I go in just a little bit, I'm going to look, because the way I was looking at it, it was going in very straight. But if you turn it around a little bit, you'll see that it's a little bit closer to the edge. It's not going in the right direction. And since this just went in, if you're going to change the direction any, now is the time to do it. So this one is going that way. I'm going to turn it around, and I think it might need to tilt up just a little bit. So as I drill, I'm just pushing it up a little bit and change the direction. And you'll see all the stuff that's, well, no, maybe you can't because I've got the camera on the bowl. Sorry about that. But you'll see the shavings that are coming out of this bead. And you just want to do it slowly. You don't want to force it. You want to pull the drill bit out once in a while and clean out the little grooves in the bit. Because sometimes you'll get in there and your drill goes round and round and round, but you aren't making any progress. And that's because, I don't know if I can, well, it all fell off when I came out. But in these little grooves on your drill bit, clay will get up in there, and when it gets too clogged up, it won't drill any further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger or my thumb on the opposite side of the bead from where I'm drilling. Now, of course, if you're using a Dremel or any kind of a power drill, please don't do this. This is only if you're using a hand drill. But you'll go through, and as soon as you can feel it, there I can feel, just see it's just barely coming through. But I'll pull this back out, and then I'll go back in that little place where the drill came out. And that way we're finishing off both ends of the hole so that it'll look nice. And let me do another one for you. I think that might, whoops. I'll never find that little hole again. Let me see, if I were going to drill this, I think I would drill it right here. Let me go in a couple little turns, then turn it to see if it's going to go in. I think that's going to be fine just the way it is. And then you just start drilling. And the clay will come out. You can see it coming out and falling on the paper towel. But then after, like right now, I'm turning and nothing is happening. No clay is coming out, and I don't feel like my drill is going anywhere. And it's because clay is clogged up in those. It's probably too close to focus on, but this is clay right here that's stuck in the drill, in the little groove. So you just want to just knock that out, and then you can go back in and it will start, say the clay is beginning to come out again. Now if you have a vise, you could take a vise and put some padding on either side. See, I'm back at a point now where the drill's not doing anything. I'll just pull it out, knock the clay off, and go back in. And I should be just, yeah, I am. I just one more little turn. See that little teeny tiny divot? The drill hasn't come through, but it's beginning to push the clay out. So that's where I will pull this out and go in where that little mark is, that little, I don't know what you call it. Go in from that side, and then both ends are nice and clean, the holes are. Now I've only got one more that's not drilled. Let me try right there. Go in just one or two times and then turn it to make sure it's going to be in a good spot. I think I need to go that way a little bit. So I'm just turning it before I go any further so that any more progress will go in the different direction. And you can tell when it's time to pull this out because the clay will stop falling out the hole, like right now. And that just means this has gotten stopped up. It's no big deal. But if you, anyway, as I was saying, if you have a vise, you can take some padding, a piece of fun foam or something, and put on either side of the vise, and put your bead in there, and then take a Dremel and Dremel down through. That's a lot quicker, and that's usually what I do, but I'm trying to approach this as somebody that doesn't have a lot of clay tools. So there we go there. Just shaking off all those shavings. So now I've got all of these beads, and we need to string them. We need to do something with it because lava is shiny. If you've ever seen it, lava is really shiny. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to put this on a toothpick. You can use a skewer or whatever. And I'm going to take out my Dremel. And I have taken, my Dremel has got this pad on it that I made. This is just a nail, a common nail. I cut some felt, some white felt, and stuck the nail through the felt, and then I used the nail as the little that goes into the collet to be tightened. So it's nice and tight now, it won't come off. And this is what I use for my drilling. I mean, I use it for drilling too. I've got another one that has a variable speed that I use for my drilling and things. This one I just use for buffing. And the good thing about this is it'll buff really well, nice and soft. It'll buff it to a sheen. If you've sanded, and you can sand these if you want, but I'm thinking this is a stone. And I think stones are more rough. Even though they might get shiny, they still are a little rough. So I'm not going to sand this. But I'm going to turn on my Dremel, and I'm going, all right, let's look at it now. It's just a matte black. And I'm going to turn on my Dremel. Actually, this is my variable speed. That's right. My other one is not variable, and that's what I use for drilling. But I'm just going to see how this will buff without any sanding. And if it buffs to a high enough shine, I probably will not glaze them. If it doesn't, then I may just skip this step altogether. I could feel this coming loose on my toothpick. Make sure it stays firm on your toothpick or it'll go flying across the floor. And it also doesn't hurt your hands. If the felt touches your hands, it doesn't hurt it. It's not like, sandpaper or anything else. Now this is looking right good. I think I'm liking this. You can turn your toothpick, spin it a little bit so it gets all the surfaces. And let's see the difference. Can you see the difference, how nice and shiny it is? Let me get one that's not. Okay, this one is not not buffed, and this one is. But see the difference? And I think that looks like a piece of lava. So I think rather than putting a glaze on it, I'm going to just polish. If you want to use a glaze, you can use the Sculpey gloss glaze, which is what I had out to use. But I think I'm going to just buff these. I think that's going to give me the look that I want. So let me go ahead and buff the rest of these, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've buffed all of my beads. I don't know if you can see them. They've all got a real nice shine to them. It's not a glassy shine, but I don't think that's the look we would want anyway. If you do want a glassy shine, feel free to use the Sculpey glossy glaze, because that will give it a nice shine. I was just thinking that men probably wouldn't want a lot of shine. But now we need to decide what we're going to do for the cording. Now I've got two different types of cord here. This is by Doris, and it is a jewelry cord, and it's clear, and it's very strong. This is a 0.8 millimeters. So it's very thick and it's very strong. And that's a nylon, I believe. It just says clear cord. But I believe it's a type of nylon. And then we have this, which I got at Walmart, which is a, it says Stretch Right Beading Cord Elastic. And it's black. Now, I haven't had it out of the package, so I haven't really looked at it good. But let me see. See, that's got more stretch to it than the other will. So I don't know which would be the best. I would be thinking the black just because it wouldn't show when it stretches, but then neither should the clear. But I'm going to try the black and see how it works. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it on here because I don't know how long I need it yet. I'm just going to strand these together, and I'm not going to put anything in between them. That's a choice that you have to make. You can either put a little bead between. Again, I'm trying to think masculine, and I think most men, especially if these are supposed to look like lava, I don't think they would want any kind of bead in between. Which is why you have to use a cord that will work well, because, you know, because you've got beads, when it bends, you're going to see the cord a little bit. So that's why I decided to go with the black. And we'll just see how this works. Sorry for the silence. I'm just, you know, sometimes you just have to work and be quiet. Now, I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm going to put them all on here and then look at the size and see whether I think it's too big or too small. I'm not really sure what the average size of a man's wrist is. Maybe I should have looked that up before I started doing this. But hey. And I'm almost done. One good thing about the stretchy cord is it's strong. It's stiff enough that it will go through the holes of these beads pretty well. Alright, so that's going to be the size of my bead. Of course, for me, it's going to be too big, but for a man, it might be just about right. So I'm going to cut this right about here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this into a jeweler's knot, I guess, which goes around twice. A square knot you would go around once, and that's going to make it too big. Let me just go around once. And it's right over left and left over right, or reverse, whichever. But make sure when you do this, give it a little stretch, because you want this to be a little bit tighter. See how much I've pulled this out? But I think that is probably going to be good. So I did that left over right, or was it right over left? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go twice this time and make it a jeweler's knot, just because it makes it a little bit stronger. And then make it tight. Pull it as tight as you can. And then what I like to do is take some super glue of some kind and just put a little dab on the knot. Let me get a good angle on it. This is just some glue. This is Loctite that I had in my stash. But try to stretch it out a little bit because you don't want to get the glue on your bead. I think you need 3 hands for this, don't you? And just put a little dab. This is a gel. You can use the gel or the liquid. I love the gel because it doesn't seem to dry out as much as the liquid does. I'm going to spread it around with a toothpick. And I'm going to let it sit for a minute and harden. And while it's sitting, I'm going to cut these off very short. And when I say very short, it's maybe 1/4 inch. And as soon as you think that glue is dry, then what you can do is try to pull it into the hole of one of these beads, and it may be too tight for that. So since I can't get it into the hole, well, I might be able to. Let me pull it, give it a good pull. Let me see if I can make this, squeeze this in a little bit. This knot, make it a little bit smaller. Probably shouldn't have done that jeweler's knot, but now it's all super glued together, so I'm kind of stuck. But I'm going to see if I can squeeze it tight. Well, it would help if I had pliers. I've got water sitting up here where it's in my line of sight. I got water out in case I decided to sand these. Now let's see if I can pull that into the bead. I just don't think it's going to go. I'll try the other bead. Alright, that's just not going to work, but because I've got super glue on there, the knot shouldn't come loose, so I'm going to trim it really, really close. And there is your finished bracelet. And like I said, it's probably a little bit too big for me. I guess I could wear it if I don't mind it rolling around on my wrist. But I think a man would enjoy this bracelet. So those of you that have asked for a tutorial on making something for your husband because your husband or boyfriend likes to wear jewelry, here's an option for you. Lava rock. I've got another one that I'm working on also, and I'll have, another idea for a masculine type bracelet, and I'll show you that one on another video. But in the meantime, shop at Tupelo Designs if you can. They are a wonderful company. They've got, I think I've already told you about the free shipping in the United States, and it's discounted international. They carry hundreds of items. You can earn reward points with every purchase, and then you can redeem those for free product. So you just can't beat it. So come back and see me again next Monday for another Tupelo Designs project. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.